Traci Chen and I'm back with another video about immigration to South Australia. Now for you guys who don't know me, I'm an immigration lawyer based in Australia. I'm the principal lawyer at Mason Chen Law Group and we have a team of about 30 people at the moment, but we're currently growing very quickly. We have lawyers that are in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and we service clients all across Australia as well as worldwide. Now, today's video will be focused on South Australia, but in particular, the highly skilled and talented stream in South Australia. Now, this stream is open for people who are in Australia, in South Australia, as well as overseas. So if you think you meet the requirements for this, it's best to put an application in for this one because there's lots of benefits of this type of application, because on top of your expression of interest, you will also lodge a registration of interest, which will allow you to submit other documents to further support your application, unlike your expression of interest. When I'm teaching my team members about this, I call it almost like a mini GTI, so like a mini global talent visa. Now, this is just a stream, and you can be invited for the 491 or 190 visa, probably depending on your situation. Now, before I get stuck into it, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with people who need it. It really helps my channel. And if you have any other video ideas for me, any other immigration topics that you would like me to talk about, drop it in the comments below, but Australian immigration only, okay? I don't know any other countries yet. I don't think I'm actually allowed to do like Canada or anything like that. I've looked into it. I do think I'm allowed to do New Zealand, so that's something that me and my team are currently looking into. But look, just Australia alone, there's enough. Like, have you seen the numbers for immigration? Like, the number this financial year is 195,000, which is just huge. There's plenty of opportunity here alone. Australia is the land of opportunity. So this visa, just like any other visa, you first have to be eligible for an expression of interest on Skill Select. So here are just some basic requirements to get started with. You can be living in South Australia, in any other state of Australia. So you could be in New South Wales, you could be in Western Australia, you could be in Northern Territory. You can also be overseas. You must be under 45 years of age at the time of invitation. Now, with South Australia, last financial year, I don't know about this financial year, but last financial year, if you were turning of age soon or, something was expiring, you could actually email them and they will actually look at your application first. So many good things about South Australia. Other states, honestly, a lot of other states, they don't care. So again, I'm all for South Australia. Actually, I grew up in South Australia, so like I'm a little bit biased almost. Now, you must have an eligible occupation on the occupation list. Now, you can go to the South Australia website, I'll drop the link below, and you can find your occupation. Then when you're looking your occupation in the drop-down menu, you'll have all the different streams that is eligible for this occupation. So you have to see if your occupation is eligible under this stream, okay? From memory, there's quite a few occupations. Hopefully you'll be able to find that your occupation is also eligible. If that is the case, then you'll need to have a valid and positive skills assessment in that occupation. You'll also need to have at least proficient English. Now, I know that the requirements for an expression of interest on Skill Select is competent English, so 6 in each band. But for this, you must have 7 each, so proficient English, okay? You must score at least 65 points. However, that's including the state points. So as you know, for 491 visa, you'll get an extra 15 points. And for the 190 visa, you'll get an extra 5 points. Now, you also must be earning a high base salary threshold, they call it. Now, you also need to be earning a high salary. So although I've actually seen them invite with people with slightly lower salaries, just go by the requirements online. The requirement is $80,000 per annum, full-time, and you must be working at least 30 hours a week or 60 hours per fortnight. Now, in my opinion, that 80 hours is on a pro rata basis. So if it's $80,000 per annum, then that's based on a 38-hour week. So if you're only working 30 hours, you can be paid less as long as the actual base salary is $80,000. Just as long as on pro rata, you'll be making at least $80,000 per annum. So onshore and offshore applicants are assessed differently essentially. So let's look purely at onshore applicants first. Now, as an onshore applicant, you must demonstrate that you have extensive experience in highly skilled jobs in senior or executive level roles. Now, this is open to interpretation. I just think that if you are earning a high salary and you're in a highly skilled job, so skill level 1, so it could be, IT, you're an applications developer, or maybe you're a senior mechanical engineer, or you're an executive or in a very senior role, so you're a senior project manager, you could qualify for this stream. Again, I think that this is something that is open to interpretation. So if you are unsure, definitely get some advice from your migration agent or lawyer. I think they'll be able to point you in the right direction. And then if you're in South Australia, there's 3 things they'll look at, okay? The first one would be like you have already commenced your employment in South Australia, okay? The second one will be that you already have a employment contract ready to go to relocate to South Australia. So you could be working for a company in, say, Melbourne or Sydney, and they're looking to relocate you to South Australia. That would be a tick. Or you have demonstrated very specialized experience in your field, and that area must be in a South Australia priority sector. Now, I'll drop a link below to show what the South Australian priority sectors are. However, if you do look at it, you'll see that it's actually quite broad. So I really think it's open to interpretation again. So there's something like high tech and digital is one of the sectors. Well, there's a lot of things we could fit under high tech and digital. So again, with these ones, just like any other migration application, I highly recommend getting advice from a legal practitioner or a migration agent so that you're prepared accordingly for your application, because some people don't know. Like, I had clients that I have successfully gotten a global talent visa for, which is a different visa altogether. They had no idea they were global talents, you know, but in the eyes of immigration, when I reviewed their documents, I was like, yeah, this is global talent, let's do it. So, you know, now there's a couple of requirements for the employer as well. If you are going down the first 2 kind of streams, the employer must have been operating in South Australia for the last 12 months. It must have a turnover of at least $4 million. However, if the company is a startup or if it's in outer regional South Australia, it could be exempt from this requirement. And obviously the business must be of good standing and must not have any adverse information. Now, that was the basic requirements for an onshore applicant. So if you think you're eligible, if you fit the criteria, then you would lodge an expression of interest and then a registration of interest for South Australia. So it's different to the other streams, okay? So offshore applicants, what are the requirements? So on top of having extensive experience in a niche area in a highly skilled job or working as a senior or in an executive role, you also must meet the following criteria. But again, I've worked with a lot of applicants on this. There's a lot that you can do here. So again, just keep an open mind when it comes to this. So you must work for an internationally renowned organization. We have a lot of clients from overseas who work for big companies that are global household names, you know, like Google or Microsoft, you know. There's a lot of internationally renowned organizations. Otherwise, it could be a multinational company that has a presence in South Australia if it's not quite internationally renowned, okay? And again, you must have demonstrated the specialized experience in your niche area, and it must be in one of South Australia's critical priority sectors. So again, have a look at the list, but I think you'll realize when you look at it that it's very much open to interpretation as well. Now, if you actually have a look at the application process, look at the expression of interest, that's pretty straightforward. You fill in details there. Again, make sure everything you're claiming in there is correct. You can't claim incorrectly for it, okay? Because if you are invited, then the application's locked. You can't lodge an application if you can't actually claim the points. You'll get a refusal. So it's really important to check that. Secondly, you will lodge a registration of interest. I think you'll see in the registration of interest, you'll be able to attach documents. Again, treat it almost like a job application almost. So like, you know, you have reference letters, you have your resume, you have a cover letter, you know, all things like that. And if you do have a job offer in South Australia, make sure you get your employer to support you with a letter to support, you know, you moving there or you starting a job in South Australia essentially. Once they assess your registration of interest and they believe that, you know, you meet the criteria, you'll get an invitation to finalize the application by lodging a state nomination. And then once they check all that and everything's all good, then they'll invite you to lodge a visa application with the department. Obviously, everything that you claimed in your registration of interest and your expression of interest, your state nomination must also be evidenced in your expression of interest. It cannot be incorrect, okay? So that comes down to points you're claiming, work experience you're claiming. I do have videos in relation to that kind of stuff and how to assess documentation in regards to that. I'm also releasing some mini courses on that. So if you guys are interested, again, I've dropped a link below for you guys to look at that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, if there's any specific video topics you want to hear about, just drop it in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.